So what is the current market scenario for women entrepreneurs in India?
I think the current market scenario is awesome. I think since 2011-12, I think the market is becoming more and more upbeat. 2014 was amazing. I think we saw a lot of activity in the high tech, especially e-com startup sector, and 2015 is showing to be very progressive. There is a very high consumer sentiment, very high investor sentiment, and thankfully with India's brand image, thanks to Modi ji, improving across the world, I think this is the right time for a lot of young women who are still thinking about, is this the right time to start? Yes, this is the right time to start. Technology, especially because that's the sector I work in, I think is booming. Mobile is booming. Healthcare, education, lots of opportunities for women to come in and make a difference.
All right. If you could elaborate, how can women entrepreneurs be an enabler to digital India?
So I think there are a lot of interesting new things that we have seen in the last few years, right? For example, so I used to live in India till 2001, and then I moved to the States. I came back late 2008. And something as simple as buying clothes, buying lingerie, buying shoes is so simple. I mean, I don't have to go to any store and try out 5 things or have this very awkward conversation with the male sales rep. I can just buy all these things at midnight when I'm free, when I have the time to look around at clothes designs and see what size might fit me, what might not. And there's so much that has happened thanks to people thinking about it. I'm not saying women are not thinking about, men are not thinking about it. Of course they are. I mean, a bunch of women-oriented companies or even kids-oriented companies like First Cry or Zivame, they have male co-founders as well as founders. But it just goes to show that there were so many markets or opportunities that people were not even looking at before, and now they are realizing that there is a market and people want to buy things and they want their life to be simpler. So whether it is diapers or whether it is clothes or jewelry, you can buy almost everything online. And by the way, who does most of the clothes and furniture and jewelry shopping for any household? Is the women.
Right. What is the current 3 top challenges women entrepreneurs facing right now?
So I think the challenges that women entrepreneurs specifically face right now are no different than what they were a few years ago, or even for that matter a few decades ago. It's just that the number of women who are being resilient and saying that no, I want to create a difference, I want to change the way people do XYZ thing, whether it is how people go for a spa treatment or whether how people do their furniture buying, whatever that case may. First and foremost, I think the largest and important thing is for women to realize that I have this confidence, I have this passion, I know that only I can get this right and therefore I must do it. And I think that passion, ambition, confidence, willingness, that has to come from inside. A challenge is that the environment and infrastructure that we are in is not very conducive. So a lot more people will not be willing to take that risk and will be scared. And I think that is where I would want, we have some people from policy making areas, from the government, we would need far more improvement in the infrastructure, because I never felt as scared driving my car at 2 in the night when I worked in the States. But I do feel scared about doing the same thing in Delhi NCR, and I don't want to be scared. And I think neither does anybody else. And people would not want to give up on their profession. People would not want to be chided ki wo jaldi chali gayi because she is the woman, because she also wants to perform. So I think the environmental factors, infrastructure, and the second thing coming from within. Third, I think factor, it's always been family, traditional values. And I'm not saying that family is not important, family is, but I think that if you know that this is the life you want to live, you have to start the change, and at some point your family will realize that this is important to you. doing something of your own, doing something big, doing an entrepreneurial venture does not mean that you give up on all your other responsibilities. You still are responsible for your families, for your parents' healthcare, for your children if you have, but you can manage those. You just have to decide that you're going to do this and that. And doing that does not require you to give this up. You don't need to give up your own dreams in order to fulfill your family's dreams. This is what I think. These
few do's and don'ts for aspiring women entrepreneurs.
Do's, I would say that think about why you want to jump from your, existing career, whether that's as a professional or you are, still studying. Why you want to jump into a venture? Don't jump into entrepreneurship just because your friends are or a lot of people are. It's a cool thing to do. What I mean by that is that think about what you want to do. Make it very objective, make a list of areas that excite you, do research about them, sort of make small case studies around them, why you will be successful, how you can do a pilot. So I think being thorough in your research, and it's not like a one-year project, you can do it in a week, you can do it in a couple of months, but figure out what you want to do and do it for the right reasons, not for lame reasons that people are doing it. So that's number one do. Second do is once you do figure out that this is what I want to do, the first thing you must do is you must find what is the smallest possible way in which you can experiment or pilot and figure out that whether your assumptions are correct or not. And in order to do that pilot, if you need very little money, very few users, hustle it, make it happen yourself. So that's the second do. Don't try to, get 20 people, lot of technology, lot of office in space, all that in place just to first prove your basic concept by doing a pilot, and do it manually and do it in your area where you live or whatever that may be. Third do is start looking for like-minded people, and by like-minded I mean definitely people who will contribute to your idea, and whether they are as co-founders or employees, but people who you will gel with and you would like to work with. If you meet with people who have, let's say, 15 years of experience in the same sector and you know that they know a lot of things, don't assume that they will be the right people, because they may have their own biases ki you have to do something like this only, ye to aise hi hota hai. That's not how startups are built. Startups are built by doing something different than what has already been done. So go for people who are, have new ideas and want to experiment. I think getting key people together, doing a minimum viable experiment and having the right reasons to do it. I think those are my do's. Don'ts would be, don't get dissuaded. You may fail a couple of times, but if you have the grit and determination, you will eventually find the right way to do it and you will be successful. A lot of internal confidence and persistence is required, I think. The other don't is that don't let other people pull you down. I can't tell you the number of founders of companies, investor community, vendor community who told me what I was doing was completely wrong. People will say, like somebody else in the panel, if you're trying to do something fresh, it's a new idea. If everybody believed in it from beginning, it would not be a new idea. There would be thousands of people doing the same thing. Because it's unique, it's a different way that you're thinking, therefore people will not get it. Don't get frustrated, it will take few years, but ultimately if you keep persisting, you will get it done.